Alright, so, part two. So now that you've got an idea, are you more visual, more auditory, more kinesthetic, or more auditory digital? Remember, everybody's got all of them. You then can start looking at the people in your life and the people that you have relationships with and start trying to figure out which one are they. Again, this note is up on my Facebook page. It's on my fan page and on my profile, or you can message me if you have some question, or just write me a message. You write me a paragraph and let me see a couple of pictures of you. I will tell you which one you are. Some hints that will give you an idea. Again, visual people talk fast, right? I know I talk fast, but it's because I've only got a little bit of time here. They'll dress in brighter colors. They tend to be artists. If they're painters, often tend to be visual, but quite often artists can be kinesthetic as well, because they don't express themselves so well in words. So you kind of have to take it into account completely. But especially if they work with a lot of bright colors, they're probably going to be visual. I said a lot of musicians tend to be auditory, especially if they're kind of socially awkward. If they don't really interact well with people, a lot of times that's a hint that they might be auditory. Kinesthetic is feeling based. Now, again, one of the things that I'm looking to figure out in this book I'm writing is if there is a significant breakdown between men or women being a certain way. Because there's men and women of all types. And by the way, the most common one is visual. So if you truly cannot choose, you're probably visual. And the least common one is auditory, just purely hearing based. So that's the one you're least likely to be, but it might be you. If you're trying to communicate then with your spouse, and maybe your husband or wife says something to you like, I just don't feel right about it. And you say, well, what does that mean? And they're like, I just don't feel right about it. And you're like, well, explain it to me. Tell me what you mean. Make it make sense for me. And they're like, I don't know. I can't. And you just might start like steam's coming out of your ears. But realize in that instance, you might be auditory digital, like me. You need it to make sense to you. They might be kinesthetic. They can't. It's not that they're just refusing to talk to you. It's not that they just won't tell you what's in their mind. They can't. It's not in words. Okay? See, when anybody thinks, the reason why meditation and visualization and things like that work so well is because your brain and your mind think in pictures. Your subconscious mind doesn't think in English. It's not running through just like a list of things or whatever your native language is. These ideas and concepts come up and then they get filtered through your conscience, and your conscience wraps them in words and then it spits them out. Okay? And for some of us, that comes very easily and quickly. And for others, it doesn't. Now, this is not a value judgment, because quite often, kinesthetics get perceived as being less intelligent because they do speak slow. They might need time to figure out what it is that they're doing. And if you're not like this, it can kind of drive you crazy. Which, by the way, this is a hint into how to apply this. If you're dealing with a visual person who talks very quickly, then you start talking a little faster to match them. It's called matching and mirroring. People like other people that are like themselves. So if you can match a person's speaking pace or their tone or their inflection or even how they're sitting. Like if I'm sitting like this while I'm talking to you, then slowly while you're talking to me, move into the same position. Because then you're matching and mirroring. Now here's the thing, you have to be careful though, because you don't want people to feel like you're making fun of them. Like if they're like, oh my God, I can't believe what just happened at the mall. And you're like, oh my God, tell me what just happened at the mall. They're going to get mad at you because they're going to think you're mocking them. That's not what I'm saying. Slowly move into equilibrium with them, okay? Start speaking and using words that you know that they will understand. Like if you've identified that your husband or wife or son or daughter or best friend or coworker is a auditory, then you can start speaking to them in ways saying things like, you know what, I hear what you're saying. I hear you. Who's this calling me? You gotta wait. You say things like, I hear what you're saying. Or if you want to do something nice for them, send them a video or a song that you find that makes you think about them. Right? that will go much further with them than it will with someone who's visual. Now, we talked about this in the episodes about men and women, about doing sweet things. This can help you really take it up a notch. Like, if your wife or girlfriend is a kinesthetic, then buying her a painting won't have the same impact for her as if you buy her a really snuggly teddy bear. Like one that she can just kind of like cuddle with and rub her head all over and stuff. That will mean more to her, okay? So when you have an understanding of this, you can package your communication in a way that it will be received better. Does that make sense? See, it's advantageous for me to be auditory digital because in these videos, even though you and I are just talking, some other people might be listening in on this also. And so I have to try and make my message as universal as I possibly can. And the way that I speak in terms of, does it make sense? Is that logical to you? Explain it, understand it. Those are kind of general words that work for most people. And it also helps me to adapt that once I've identified who you are and how you communicate, if you watch, especially if we chat or talk in print, if you notice, my words will slowly adapt to your words. I'll start speaking like you. Pay attention, I do it all the time. In fact, although it might be hard now because if you and I have been talking for long enough, I already know how you think, so I phrase it in a way that you understand. Now, sometimes people will say, the big risk here is that it can become inauthentic. What I mean is, you can get so caught up in packaging the message that you're not really expressing what you're trying to express. But the measure of communication is in the response that it gets. Okay? If you're really upset and you say, I hate you and I want you to die. By the way, I have someone that got into a fight with their significant other and they really told them, I hate you and I want you to die. And what do you think happened? The significant other got really upset. Of course the significant other got really upset. Saying things like that don't help. I know you mean it. I know in your heart at that exact second you're so angry that that's what you hope to express. But it's not what you really mean, right? And if you say something or do something that elicits a negative response from the other party, then you haven't gained anything, okay? So if you know that you're visual and you're like, my kinesthetic husband should just deal, sort of, you guys have to meet in the middle. You have to understand that this other person really, truly sees the world and processes information different than you do. It's different. And I don't mean just Mars and Venus stuff, not just cultural stuff and history and experiences. Remember, everybody deletes, distorts, generalizes. Most people aren't really hearing you. They're hearing what they think you said, okay? And if you can be aware of this and start adapting to it and matching and mirroring and pacing it, then you can really start having some huge breakthroughs in your interactions with people. And you'll start understanding people better and having better relationships and better communication and getting better results. So since I split this for my people on YouTube, let me restate again. I'm writing my new book. I'm asking everybody, message me your birth date, time, and location, and which one of these personality types you think you are. And if you like, I'll mention you by name in the book. And if you don't want to be mentioned by name, I'll do it anonymously. And one other thing, people have asked me periodically, can you repost my videos or repost my articles? Yes, I would really appreciate that. If you like what I do, send it to everybody that you know, everybody that you think will like what I do. Broadcast it far and wide. Not only can you, I wish you would. Same with my articles. Because I'm trying to reach as many people as I possibly can. And there was something else I was going to say, but I'm starting to forget it. So, Well, at any rate, if you have any questions about this, message me, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, B-Dave Walters. You can find me anywhere. This note is up on my Facebook fan page. I think the title of the note is, Want Me to Mention You in My Next Book, so it should be pretty easy to find. I love you. You're great. You're fantastic. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or auditory digital. They're all great. You're you. You're great. You're fantastic. You're perfect. You just got to learn to work within the confines of your own brain, work within the confines of everybody else's. I love you. Bye-bye.